welcome to the Pitchline Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tess. I'm here with Robinho and Donald, and we have a lot of thanks to give as we have reached the 1,000 sub mark, and I cannot be any more happy to share this moment with you guys and my best friends who I do the show with. We've been doing this for a number of years now, and it is coming to the milestone that we've all been grinding for. So big thank you to Rob and Donald for grinding this out with me. I wouldn't want to do it with two other people at all. Love you guys to the moon and back, you know that, and love everybody that has supported us throughout all of the years. And even if you are new, you get the same amount of gratification because we recognize the same names in the chat. We know who the loyal are, and our greatest gratitude goes to you guys. Before we get into the Yankees chat, I do want to go and throw it around the horn and let Robert and Donald say a little something before we get into the Yankees offseason. So, Donald, floor's yours, bro.
I just remember it's about 3-4 years ago. I was sitting, just waiting for an opportunity because I had all this knowledge and I had all this enthusiasm to be on a platform. And Uncle Tats came along, and he built this little channel from scratch. And I remember hopping on, and Rob was there, and Uncle T was there, and that's how it got started. Just from this little podcast where there was like a handful of people and their dog would watch us, and we just kept going. We kept grinding. We just did it because we loved it, and then it just started to grow. And it's all thanks to everyone in the chat. It's all thanks to all our loyal subscribers, everyone that's been the OGs from day one. I can't thank you enough. It really just it fills your heart, really, that there's people that are interested in what we have to say, and it really means a lot. Regardless if you're a Yankee fan or not, there's a lot of subscribers that aren't even Yankee fans that enjoy our show, and to you, I'm also thankful as well, because we want to try and reach out to as many people as possible and give you guys good content, good knowledge. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done, and it's only just getting started. It's really exciting. I'm going to announce that in the new year, I'm going to have my own podcast on this channel. It's going to be called the Yankified Podcast, and I'll have it once a week, and that's going out to all of you guys. Just want to continue to give you guys good content and exciting stuff for the coming year. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got to have some quality guests on. We've got Nathan coming on today, and we'll have some quality guests on in the future. So everybody who hasn't already done so, join this family because it's growing. And anyway, I just want to say a big thank you. Happy holidays to all, and let's go. And Rob, my brother, Uncle Tats, I love you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for riding with me and building this. It really means a lot.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Couldn't have picked two better co-hosts. We've been through some ups and downs for sure, but we grinded through it. And thank you to everybody, man. Every single one of you. 1,003 to this point. So let's get that number higher. Let's be stingy and let's just try to get more because we want more subs. But we're so happy to hit that 1K mark. It's a long time coming, and we're just happy to be doing this 3 times a week, just talking Yankee baseball, doing something that we love. We're all fans of the team. You're all fans of the team. Sometimes people aren't fans of the team, but they stick around and watch. So we appreciate every single one of you, and we couldn't thank you enough. And on to the new year. Let's get 2K. And then after that, let's get 3K. Let's just push for the higher number. We're so happy. I'm looking forward to the Yankified podcast, and I'm looking forward to anything else that this channel is going to put out because we got some exciting things coming, and I'm looking forward to it. 2024 was our year. 2025, we're going to break those barriers. Let's go.
Let's go.
And I want to get into a couple of the questions in the chat and the comments, but also a very special thanks and love to Lynn. and her co-host Sierra, who has really just come right into this family and has been lights out, unbelievable. And also, I can't go forward without mentioning Chris Northrup, who is Lynn's co-host for the longest time, who is a big part of the growth of this channel. So, Chris, you and Pete, hope you guys are enjoying your time together in retirement, and hope Pete is feeling well. I will be reaching out so we can give everybody an update on how they have been doing. But we do have some Yankees talk to get into.
We also have to thank Lynn and Sierra, the first women of the Pinstripe Chronicles.
Yep.
A big shout out to Uncle Tats, because he was actually one that championed the idea of having an all women's podcast. It's kind of unique, and it was a great idea. And Lynn and Sierra have done a lot,
Yeah,
great work every Sunday, and their viewership is shooting up, and the sub counts are shooting up because a lot of the work that they're doing. So would be remiss not to say a big thank you to Lynn and Sierra. You guys are awesome.
Yep. And yeah, it really it was something that needed to happen. And Lynn and Chris really just kind of stepped up. They were ready to go. And Lynn had to step aside in retirement. Sierra took over, and it was flawless. So big thank you to the ladies that really make this channel what it is. So but when you get to the Yankees, there was a question about if there's going to be any more of the any more infield moves. And Donald, Rob put out a great show with NFE, and I was in the chat while helping Aunt Tats rest up a little bit. She is feeling a lot better. For anybody that was in the chat and knew that why I couldn't join in. But we got Goldie, bro, and we have our first baseman, and there's been a lot of mixed feelings about this, and I'm kind of surprised because I think it's a solid move for a couple of reasons. You have a veteran first baseman that still has stuff left in the tank to really give this organization. Ken Claus strikes again. Ken, thank you again for the memberships. You are just a gift that keeps on giving, and you are greatly appreciated.
That's true.
But this is, I think, going to be, if they're going to hold on to a guy like Ben Rice, and they're going to groom him for first base, who better to have as a mentor than somebody with the resume of a Paul Goldschmidt? I think this is something that's important to more than just what's going to be done on the field. I think behind the scenes, this is going to be a tremendous addition.
I'm not sure. To be honest, my issue is not necessarily with the player himself. It's just with the Yankees' philosophy towards first base. My issue with it is that once again we're punting first base 12 months down the road again, because obviously the main plan is not Ben Rice. The main plan really is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. / Tucker / Murakami. That's really their main goal. That's in 12 months' time. But what we're missing is we've just been to the World Series, and we've got this year to play. And Aaron Judge ain't getting any younger. Are we going to continue to punt a very valuable position 12 months down the road further? And you don't know what's going to happen in 12 months' time. There's every chance that Tucker goes, you know what? I love Chicago. And why wouldn't he? Chicago's a beautiful city. Maybe he extends there, Toronto have a ton of money that they're just sitting on. They offered as much as the Yankees did for Juan Soto, but no one wants to go to Toronto. But Vlad's been there for a long time, so maybe Vlad just goes, you know what? I like it. I'm comfortable there. Boom, he's off the board. Then what? Murakami? We've not cornered the Japanese market since we had Hideki Matsui and Masahiro Tanaka, which was a while ago. So we've not cornered the Japanese market in a while. So what I'm saying is we're not guaranteed any of those three guys. And we're once again, in the meantime, Yankee fans are sitting there going, we've lost about 1,000 OPS. We've lost a 420 on base percentage. We've lost 40 home runs. We've lost 140 RBIs from Juan Soto. Not to mention Gleyber Torres, who was a big part of the World Series run, leading off. And how are they approaching this? Well, they're approaching it with someone who's coming off a massive down year. Now, I am not ripping Goldschmidt as the player. I like Goldschmidt as a player. In fact, he's probably one of my favorite first basemen in the game. I love Paul Goldschmidt. I've always been a huge fan of him. I just don't agree with signing a 37-year-old. I think Nathaniel Lowe was the move to make. He just went yesterday. If you look at the Baseball Savant page, he's plus 18 in offensive value. What was Goldschmidt minus? What was it? -5, -6. So like there's a massive disparity right there between the two. Nathaniel Lowe was someone who's 29. Goldschmidt's 37. They're both similar money. In fact, the Lowe's cheaper, plus less. And you're probably going to get more offensive value and better defensive value. Definitely better defensive value if you look at the Baseball Savant page. So again, I just question that. Meanwhile, Pete Alonso is just sitting there without a market, and his price is probably going to drop, and the Mets are going to get him for a decent value. Had the Yankees waited and not been so impatient to fill this hole, the Yankees might have gotten better value at that position, because now we're in a position where we brought in Bellinger, who I like. I wanted the Bellinger deal done, but he's coming off a massive down year. We don't know what we're going to get from him. We brought in Goldschmidt, coming off a massive down year. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Now we need to attack third base without a question of a doubt, and it needs to be serious money. We need to invest serious money in there in order to make up the on-base percentage that we've lost and run production that we've lost. Because we're not guaranteed that from Bellinger or Goldschmidt, because they're coming off massive down years. Not just down years, but massive down years. Now, the Yankee fans need to stop saying, well, in comparison to Anthony Rizzo, he's better. Well, that's not how you should be grading this. You should be grading this going, right, well, we've lost, say, 8 WAR. We've lost 420 on base percentage. We've lost 140 RBIs. How do we make that up? We can't make that up with one player, but we can make that up with a bunch of players. I don't think that we've really done that enough. So we really need to acquire a big-time third baseman, and it needs to be a good one, not someone who's like 34, and not another Josh Donaldson. It needs to be a serious addition that can actually add some support for Aaron Judge, because Big G is still our only protection for Aaron Judge, and he doesn't play a whole year. He hasn't played a whole year in a long time. So then what? So I'm down on the move. I don't love it. I think there was better moves available, and we really should have. If anything, there were better moves there. I think Walker was there. We could have. There was a ton of better moves that we should have made, and I just don't think Goldschmidt was the option.
Yeah, well, we do have our guest ready. Nathan, if you're ready, give us a thumbs up. We'll bring you in, because he has been in the trenches throughout this whole offseason, been on the phones with a ton of people, and who better to kind of analyze the moves that have been going on. Years of knowing you, this is the first time you've actually joined us on a show. It's finally happened. Nathan, welcome to the Pitchside Chronicles.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me, Donald, Rob, and Uncle Tats. You guys are the best, and I've been watching your channel for a while now, and you guys are killing it, just like NFE and all you guys. And congrats on the new subscription, over 1K. So keep it going. I love it. And like I said, you guys are the best. You guys are you guys make it work. You're like the big three. So you guys make it work in a positive way for the Yankees, and come up with a lot of Yankees talk. And I'm excited to be on this show and platform. And first, I just want to say rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. He is obviously one of the best players in baseball to play the game. And I just want to give my prayers and thoughts to his family and friends. And we truly lost a big-time legend in the sports world. So rest in peace, Ricky Henderson.
Salute.
Yep. Yeah, he was a big factor in my youth watching the game in the 80s. And it's definitely it was almost like a party of your youth is no longer with us. So it sucks. And yeah, rest in peace to him. He was the greatest to ever do it on the bases. There's nobody better, and nobody will ever beat it. So yes, definitely rest in peace to Ricky Henderson.
Mhm.
In regards with the first base situation with Goldie, like what Donald said, there were other options available. Did it surprise you that there was such a quick pivot to Goldie after we missed on Christian Walker?
I mean, I'm a little surprised, but I can see where they're going with the Goldschmidt signing, and like the deal for Nathaniel Lowe wasn't that big, so the Yankees could have done that also to get Lowe in here and possibly pair him up with another player from Texas. But I, see, I agree with Donald 100%. I like the move. I love the move because he brings defense. We need, especially for Max Fried, it will help Max Fried because he's a ground ball pitcher, and it will help all the other infielders. But when it comes to, we can't guarantee anything for next offseason. Like Donald just said, like you never know. Kyle Tucker can like Chicago, or he can go somewhere else. And then Vladdy can sign an extension or go somewhere else. So, and then the Japanese guy, a lot of teams will be ready for that for him when he gets posted. So just like Sasaki this offseason. So nothing is a guarantee, but I, I think we could have waited a little longer, to be honest. With the because of you see all the especially for Alonso, there's no market for him right now. No teams are interested. The price is high, and I could have Pete Alonso would have fit perfectly in that Yankees lineup behind Judge and Cody Bellinger and Stanton, but but I can see where they're going from. I think he. The one thing the fans need to know about Goldschmidt is he brings leaderships. He has a leadership mentality, and he'll bring obviously a veteran presence. I mean, a Gold Glove winner, and he brings a winning mount. Yankee fans will like him, and I think he's going to get rejuvenated in Yankee Stadium. So I'm looking forward to it. But I think we could have waited a little longer.
Rob, I want to throw it to you, being that your guy Nathaniel Lowe was part of the weekend moves, and he was a guy that you would convince me to want. So I want to throw it to you off of what Nathan was saying.
Yeah, Nathaniel Lowe was my guy the whole time. The second the season ended, I was talking about him, and I didn't think he was going to be traded until Texas got Berger. I was like, oh, now he could be available, and turns out he was. And I know the pitcher they got, he's kind of similar to Cruz that we got, like the underlying numbers, like he can be something special in Texas, but you're telling me we couldn't have traded two of our bullpen arms for Nathaniel Lowe? Were we even engaged in talks with Texas? Like, that's my question. Were they even engaged in talks with Naylor or with Cleveland? Like, these guys were traded for bags of peanuts. So I don't hate the Goldschmidt signing, but I also don't love the Goldschmidt signing. Like, I see where they're going, but like there were better options. That's just my feeling on it. I want to see. I'm gonna give Cashman the benefit of the doubt because I do think he's had a phenomenal offseason. I want to see what's next. If what's next is like Bregman or something, okay, I'm fine with that. If Alec Boehm is next, if Brandon Lau is next, and they keep Jazz at third, great, sign me up. If it's Arenado, I'm not gonna be too thrilled about that. Yeah, so I need to see what's next before I give a full assumption, like a full like breakdown of this offseason. Because right now I give it an A, but there's like an asterisk next to it. Because what's next is really what's going to determine this. Because yeah, the bar was so low for first base last year that this is an upgrade, but there were better players. Nathaniel Lowe was a much better option, and he wouldn't have prevented you from getting one of those guys, and he'd be a safety net in case you can't get one of those guys next year. So I just felt like it made more sense to get Nathaniel Lowe, but maybe the Yankees weren't in on him, or maybe Texas was asking for more, which would be insane. But I would target Alec Boehm. I think that might be the move. Him or Brandon Lau. And unless St. Louis is paying like all of the money for Arenado, I don't think that's the right call. I feel like that'd be too much of a desperate move when they can go get Boehm right now. I think they can make that move happen. I would love for it because then I'd be all in on. I'd be like, all right, we got Goldschmidt, we got Boehm, Jazz is back at second, Volpe's at short, and we're good to go. Then it's just getting some lefties in this bullpen and we're set. But if it's Arenado, I'm going to have to really try and convince myself that this is a team that's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, to rewind it a little bit, when we got the news about Christian Walker getting the deal that he did with the Astros, I was livid. I'm like, how did you not bite on that?
Mm.
You know, and you had made a comment with NFE on the strike zone, how, you know, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes in a lot of these deals. Right? None of us really do. You know, we have our sources. We have people that we rely on for legitimate information. Ethan, you're one of them. You know, you're pretty spot on with, you know, you don't talk out of pocket if you don't have anything to back it up with. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that really don't know the inner workings of how it goes and what their plan is, you know, for the long term. They might not have wanted another veteran like a Rizzo for more than 2 years. Even though we were saying if you wanted the fourth year, give it to him. But for 3 years, 60, I don't know what Cashman's logic was not to try to counter that, or even if the Yankees were allowed to, you know, because it's not like they, you know, we were promised a counter offer. What was your thought? You know, because I think that was also part of the panic for Goldie, because they thought that, you know, it was just going to really mess with the market for first base a little bit after hearing that there was such a demand for it, than to see such a low contract for him.
Yeah. So for Christian Walker, I've been here. I was here. So the day that before he signed, I saw reports that he was looking for a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
Which kind of shocked me for him getting a 3-year deal worth $60 million. The Yankees could have easily done that too, like you said, Uncle Tats. I feel like they missed out on Christian Walker. He's a big time. I love Christian Walker, but I think the age factor could be doing it. He's 34 years old, I think. Goldschmidt's 37, but the short term deal. But the Yankees could have still done Christian Walker, in my opinion. But to let him go to the Astros is even worse. I mean, it's just crazy how it happened. But I thought he was going to get a 4-year deal all along. But him getting it, when I saw the numbers, 3 years, $60 million, man, I said the Yankees could have done that also, but I don't know why. But it's an interesting deal. Great move for the Astros. Obviously, their lineup is better too. So, and that says goodbye to Bregman now, obviously. So they're going to put Paredes at third, I think, and then obviously Walker first. So I like the move for Houston, but this is another move that the Yankees miss on. So they miss even though they're having a good offseason, they miss out on a couple moves that could have made them better also.
Here's where I'm worried. I'm worried about our on-base percentage. I'm looking at this lineup, and there is not nearly enough OBP on this lineup. There's not enough guys that are getting on base. Let's go right through it. Anthony Volpe, he's not a high OBP guy. You've got Wells, he's not a high OBP guy. Goldschmidt, he's just come off a horrible year in terms of OBP. Jazz is not a high OBP guy. We don't have a third baseman. Bellinger is not a high OBP guy. I'm not going through it. Stanton's not really a high OBP guy. He's all power. Aaron Judge is it. That's it, man. That's it, man. So there's not anyone that's going to get on base to help set the table for Aaron Judge and Big G. Who's coming on to do that? So that's why missing out on Walker was a big miss, because he's someone that's going to drive in runs, plus he's going to give you OBP. You could have put him in the number 2 slot in the lineup, had Aaron Judge bat third, Stanton 4, boom, got a lineup. So I'm just worried about how the Yankees approached this. It's like, what were their plans? Because obviously you can't replace Soto like for like, but you can at least replace certain things that he gave you, like on base percentage and proper OPS. Like it's going to drive in, like have an OPS of like 800, 900. You can get someone that can do that, and Walker was that guy. Lowe was a guy that's going to give you on base percentage. If you look at his walk metrics, are fucking excellent. So we missed that as well. So I'm just wondering how they're putting this together, because to be honest, Bellinger and Goldschmidt don't really address any of the major things that we're missing. As much as I like the two players individually, if you look at their metrics and what they did last year, statistically, none of it really addresses what we're really missing. I mean, they're fixing the defensive issue. That's great. Run prevention, great. What about run production? So that's what I'm looking at, and I don't see it. And I don't want our Arenado for that reason. You don't want to take on 3 years of someone who's consistently declining for the last 3 years. His numbers are dropping off dropping off a cliff if you look at his numbers. So for me, it's like Bregman, Lau, or or bust, because I don't want Arenado. You don't want to take on 3 years. Trust me, guys, you don't want to take on 3 years of that contract because it's getting worse each year that goes by. So, I mean, I give this offseason a solid B. It was an A before the Goldschmidt move. And as I say, it's not that I hate Goldschmidt the player. I actually love Goldschmidt the player. He's one of my favorite players in the league. It's just, is that really the way in which that we attack our needs? And my answer is an absolutely flat no. I think unless we get a proper infielder that's going to drive in that 80, 90 runs per year and give you a high OPS and high on-base percentage like a Bregman, then fine. Goldschmidt's fine. No problem. But if we don't address the infield position, then we're in trouble. I'm just going to say that right now.
That's why I think Bohm's such a good option, because he gets on base, he can hit. He's not necessarily a power bat. He could even lead off if we really wanted him to.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Yankees, I'm calling up Philly. I want to see what they want for the guy. I don't think it would take Spencer Jones, because apparently they're trying hard, FJ, to get rid of him, and Dombrowski was trying to talk him up. That's classic, talk him up, try to get teams to bite. I think he'd be a good fit here. I know people are like, oh, he's got a bad attitude, but we just dealt with Verdugo and Stroman, and they both were seemingly fine. Stroman had that one little issue, but Aaron Judge put a stop to that real quick. So after that, Stroman was no problems. There was really no issues in that clubhouse. So I don't think that'd be too big of an issue. Bregman might be a little risky because Bellinger hates him, and Judge might not like him very much. So I think you'd have to really try to convince or get these guys together and be like, let's just get everything out of the way so we can go try to win a championship. But those might be the options. Before I would, if there's another player involved, like Ken's bringing up Donovan, I don't think they'd get both Donovan and Arenado. It just doesn't make sense, because then where does Jazz play? Where's Donovan playing? If they're able to get a couple of relief pitchers with Arenado, I might convince myself on it, but I'm not too high on taking Arenado, because even if the Cardinals pay some of that money, he is still declining. I know his glove is great, but his bat isn't necessarily one that makes you go, that's a championship player right there. So they might have to bite the bullet, go over the threshold to get Bregman. But that's the thing. They don't want to give up picks, and they don't want to give up international money. That's why they didn't get Walker. If they didn't care about that, they would have signed Christian Walker. So we really have, again, what is Cashman cooking up? I do think there's something else in the works, because he wouldn't have, I don't think this was it. There's no way you can bring in a 37-year-old Goldschmidt, roll with any one of the three young options at second, and be like, oh, we're all in. We're going after it. Stay tuned. That can't be. You can't say stay tuned and bring in Goldschmidt and be like, that's it. We're done. So I think there is something else happening. They can still move Stroman. Maybe they can get Bregman on a deal similar to Fried, where it's backloaded. Yeah. Maybe something along those lines. I wouldn't be surprised, because Bregman's market is pretty thin right now. It could be a situation where they wait it out. Maybe they wait it out with him and they go after him. So it's a wait and see game. Ketel Marte seems like a pipe dream. Yeah. I would love him. Don't get me wrong. Ketel Marte would be a perfect addition, but I just can't see us getting him. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to see what's next. But right now, I can't be very high on the Goldschmidt trade until I see what's next.
Yeah, I think more part of it, and I want to bring this comment up that was posted with NYY Yankee Mania, was they did not miss out on Walker. Guys acknowledge the fact that they did not want to give up all those draft picks, and they still field all the money on the international market. They can get the other guy. Well, I don't know what the other guy is, but I think what he brings up is a good point. And we've talked about it, and that's the penalty of signing somebody with a qualifying offer. That might have been why the Yankees, were kind of kicking the tires on Walker, but maybe because of that, we're not fully in, because they're going to want as much of the international money in their tank for Murakami. And so it was, all right, let's get a 1 year stopgap solid defender because Cashman's made a lot of good moves that has significantly improved the defense. The offense has taken a hit, to Donald's point. But Nathan, as far as like with the minor leagues and the draft picks, is this something that teams are really behind the scenes? Is that a big focus for them with the qualifying offer?
Some teams they really focus on the qualifying offer, especially with the prospects, like some of the prospects, like what Cashman is doing right now. Yankees have some really good prospects coming up, so I like the young players that they have, but teams really do focus on the qualifying offers now to keep for the future and to worry about the future. But I think like Cashman is one of them, obviously focusing on the qualifying offers, and you see teams like the Dodgers, they do focus on qualifying offers, but they still find ways to improve the team other ways. So you see teams just focus on the qualifying offer for the future, but the prospects for the Yankees, we got some pretty good prospects. That I like that we covered in Somerset and Scranton. So there's some prospects that should not be traded, but Cashman he needs to start figuring out. He needs to stop hanging. Keeping these prospects, because if you want to keep them, then play them. If they're not going to get any playing time. The value is now. You can trade them for great players now if you want. But the problem with him, he thinks that they will pan out soon enough. But if you want to keep these prospects, you got to play them now. So that's my opinion on it. But the qualifying offer is a big thing now in baseball with teams. But I have a few points for. I want to go back to the Lowe trade. That's the reason why I think they could have waited longer. They could have tried and got Yandy Diaz in the deal also with Lowe. In the Rays deal, that would have been a perfect fit for Yandy Diaz at first base. He would have been a perfect fit for first base, and
I agree.
Bring length to the lineup along with Lowe. That's another reason why they could have waited a little longer there. But I like Alec Bohm. I agree with you, Rob. I love Alec Bohm. I think he'd be a perfect fit. And also shout out to the Phillies for getting Luzardo yesterday from the Marlins. I love that trade for them. I think he's an underrated pitcher, so shout out to them. But yes, I think the Yankees, like I said, they could have waited longer for Lowe and Yandy Diaz would have been perfect together.
Now we have ourselves a great resource right here in Nathan, the minor league expert. So for anyone in the chat, you want to ask any questions to Nathan about our minor league system. So let's start peppering him with some questions here. So I think the biggest question right here is, where do you see Jason Dominguez? Is he going to be a big part of? Is he going to live up to his potential? And who is your favorite prospect in the system as of right now?
Yeah, so for the Dominguez question, I think obviously he's going to play a big factor now with Juan Soto gone and possibly Verdugo gone too. So if the Yankees don't trade him, which it could be a possibility, they can still trade him. But if they don't trade him, I do see him having a big role in this team, and they need to play them. He needs to play now more. This is his time to shine. So if they do decide to keep him, I think he'll be in the left field, and you have Cody in center, and then Judge in right. So that's your outfield if they don't trade Dominguez. So I think he's going to have a big role, and I do feel confident in him. He is a hard worker. We covered him at Somerset and Scranton too. So what a great kid. So I'm really looking forward to see his development. But to my favorite prospect, obviously Petro Jones is my favorite. But
me too.
But I mean, obviously he's in trade rumors, so you never know what's going to happen there. But there's another, there's one player that I like is he's been through a lot injury wise. I like TJ Rumfield a little bit. He's one of my favorite players that I covered in Somerset and Scranton. This guy's a hard worker, but he's been through injuries issues. He has some injury concerns, but when healthy, he's a great hard worker. He's a first baseman, and he can hit the ball, play defense. So that's one prospects to look out for if they don't trade him. There's a couple other prospects right there and there, but But my top favorite right now is Spencer Jones. If they don't trade him, I think he's the real deal. He needs to show a little improvement on the offensive side, but his defense is there. But that's my overall favorite prospect right now.
And Regila is asking, how long before Spencer Jones is traded, or does he waste away in the minors like so many before him? Great question, Regila.
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh man, I can see him. I can see if they do decide to put him in a deal or somewhere, it could be sooner than later. Obviously, this offseason, it could be this offseason. So I'm going to say sooner than later that he gets traded if they do decide to put him in a package.
Oh, really? So you don't see a future?
I mean, I want to see him stick with the Yankees, but if they really want, if they want to make a trade, and if it's the right opportunity, then they have to pull the plug.
So do you see his future at center field or first base?
He's actually we covered a few of his games in Somerset where he played first base. He looked pretty good at first base, so that's one potential. But I see him in the outfield though,
with his range and speed. Yeah.
Lynn asks, same question as Rajil, but about Peraza. I love Peraza.
Which one? Oswald Peraza. Yeah, this guy. I feel bad for this kid, man. He's been up and down 100 times, and this guy is talented, man. I love his defense. Obviously his defense, but his offense is there. He shows potential with his offense, but the defense is outstanding. I love it. His defense is A+ for me. So this is the type of player that you keep on a championship team as a depth. But I would love to have him. I would love to see him start one day, but depending what they do for the infield position, if they do decide to go outside. But if not, I would love to give him a shot in spring training to win the third base job. I think it would be a good. I mean, obviously he showed in the majors too. So, but I just feel bad for this kid going up and down and wasting his opportunities. If you want to, once you call him up, you just keep him and see what he can do. But I loved covering him at Somerset and Scranton too. So great kid, great personality, and top-notch defense. So,
Rob, do you have a question for our guy?
Yeah, because I see Graham's bringing up Lombard. I've been wondering what they're going to do with both Lombard and Arias. Are they both part? Because I feel like they want both of them in the infield in the future.
Yeah. I think
Arias. Where?
Lombard is that's a problem because
they're now both shortstops.
Yeah. Volpe is obviously a Volpe there. So I can see if I were the Yankees, I think Arias is more of a trade chip, to be honest. If they want to trade, I love Lombard's upside. I know everybody. The talk is Arias. I love Arias, but I really like Lombard. So they're stuck in a position. This is a good problem to have. So I think if they trade one of them, I would trade Arias first before Lombard because I love Lombard's upside.
Yeah, these are a bunch of names that have been talked about with the trade markets or how to make room for them in the major leagues, within the Yankees. It just seems like the Yankees never know what to do with their own guys.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem. That's what's sparking Donald's show that he's going to be starting this year. Yanktified, which is a term that he came up with, because that just seems to be the what the Yankees are best at, is kind of stifling some of the younger talent. Because of moves, like if they would have make a move for an Arenado, that just takes away from the guys that they've really been kind of building up that other teams are already calling for, so they could use them, and the Yankees don't see the value within their own guys. Is it the players itself? Because it also seems that the Yankees don't have confidence in their own development.
It could be the players themselves too, and obviously the players need to develop on themselves also. Plus, coaching depends on the coaching and the way it depends on the players too. Obviously, how longer it takes for each player, but I think it's obviously I'll bring up an example like Jabba Chamberlain, obviously going up and down and then moving him to a bullpen starter. That's another issue that the Yankees have. Once they have like a legitimate prospect, they don't know how to. They keep switching positions with them, and then it ends up being a bad thing. So, to be honest, it's for me. I think it's up to the player most of the time, but it could also impacts the coaching and how they coach these players up.
Rob, I want to throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of talk about Escara. I just don't know if they want to carry two lefties at catcher.
I love JC Escara. Actually, I thought he was on my show last year. Yeah, I interviewed JC Escara. He's awesome, great guy. We covered him at Somerset and Scranton. He's a good catcher. He's a name to watch, and he's so like I don't know who for the catcher they got in the Reds trade, Alex Jackson. He's more of a defensive catcher. So I think he can be our backup catcher this year. If they don't, but JC Escara is a name to watch. He improves. He improved over this year, and from last year, he's a good catcher, good offensive player too. So that I think he can play a factor as a backup catcher. So you never know, anything can happen.
Is there anyone that you can see that in spring training is going to turn some heads and maybe make a spot in the final roster coming out of spring? Is there someone that might pose a surprise even out of the bullpen or in the infield?
I was gonna say Caleb Durbin before he got traded, but now
right.
But another name for me, to be honest, I think the player that could have obviously that has the upper hand, Arias. If they don't trade him, Arias could. I can see Arias if he has a great spring training. I think he has a chance to make some noise in spring training.
Yeah, I think another guy that comes to that I was thinking I wanted to ask you about, and it's because of we have a pretty good bullpen, but where do you see a guy like Beater? Where do you see his placement into the next season?
I love Beater. Man, this is I love his stuff. Obviously, starter bullpen, but he's more of a bullpen guy now. So I think he can play a big factor this year with the fact. The problem is the Yankees. We have all righties now. We need a lefty in that bullpen to balance it out. But he obviously he can mix his pitches. He's a great changeup. And then he has a slide. I think he's a slider or something. But he can mix his pitches. But he's a great. Obviously, he showed in the minors and obviously majors too. But I think he can be a big factor this year.
Is Chase Hampton our number one pitching prospect?
Yes. Actually, he's another guy that I had on the show. Chase Hampton. We interviewed him. Obviously, coming off of an injury. He's healthy now. I think he's to be honest, when healthy, obviously a great pitcher. So I can say he's one of our top prospects, pitching prospects.
Where would he project, in the bullpen or the rotation?
I see him as a rotation guy. I think he could be a starter, like a third or fourth starter, even a number two. If they keep him as a starter, but knowing the Yankees, they can put him in the bullpen. But I see him as a starter. Brock Salvage. This is another guy I like, Brock Salvage. I think he's an underrated pitcher. We covered him at Somerset. Obviously, watch out for Brock Salvage in the next year or two. I think he can maybe be a big factor in the next year or the following year.
I love Brock Selvage. He's probably my favorite prospect in the system. I think that kid's got. They featured him in that breakout game in the spring. There's a reason they started him. I think they're very high on him. Thank you to Brad, by the way, because he did gift another 5 memberships. Just wanted to make sure we did see it, Brad. So thank you once again. Brad's gifted 10 today, so big shout out to our friend from the Down Under. But yeah, I love Brock Selvage. I think that's a guy the Yankees are very high on. I think as soon as maybe some point this year, depending on how his progression goes, because he's pitched well. He's pitched very well. And the same thing with Hampton, but Hampton's had those injuries he's had. They've both been injured. And that's kind of the thing with Yankee pitching prospects is a lot of them tend to get hurt and it kind of stunts their growth a little bit, which is why they keep drafting pitchers and they eventually flip pitchers for better offensive plays. That's what the Yankees do. They trade pitching for bats, they draft pitching, they eventually trade more pitching for bats. It's kind of like they just keep stocking up on arms so they can trade them. I just don't know if I want one of these guys to be a factor in the future, but I don't know if it's Hampton or if it's Selvage. Is it a Legrande? Is it Henry Lalane? Like all these guys that a lot of our system are FCL guys, and we're waiting for these 18, 19-year-old kids to get better because we dropped from like a top 10 system to like a 18th in the league because a lot of our guys graduated and some guys' values have dropped, like Spencer Jones went from being a top 2 to being like 7th or 8th. So the Yankees have to wait a little bit on their system, which is probably why they're hesitant to trade some of their guys because a lot of their best talents are in the FCL right now.
Yep. Like, for example, I'll give you another name. The left-hander, Henry Lalane. He's I like him a lot. He could be obviously down the line now right now. Future player for the Yankees, left-handed pitcher. He has some great stuff. And also what Rob just brought up, Carlos Legrande. He's another good one, a great one to watch out for. So I think that's why most of these, because we traded obviously traded the prospects already, but I think I agree with Rob. I think that's why they're a little hesitant because most of the players are the top prospect or the top talent are in the FCL right now.
So let's circle back to Dominguez. Do you project him as a future left fielder, considering his struggles in left field, or do you think he's actually more of a natural center fielder? I know he's a natural center fielder. Do you think he should stay in center field over the long term, or do you think he'll learn left field and be okay there?
I think he'd be fine in left field. He just has to learn the dimensions of it. But he's a better center field, obviously. But you have Cody now, so for the short term, I think Dominguez will be fine. Long term, depending on what happens on Bellinger and what they do, I can see definitely Dominguez going back to center field. But right now, I think he'll learn left field, and I think he'll be fine.
And do you see Anthony Volpe being our forever shortstop, or do you think that in the future they'll actually move him to second base? Or considering the prospects that we have, we've mentioned Lombard, we've mentioned Arias, we've also got an international acquired who's a shortstop. There's almost better shortstops in the system. In fact, Peraza is a better shortstop than Volpe. Yeah. Where do you see Volpe in the future, or do you think the Yankees are just going to write it out with him?
I mean, it's going to all depend on how these prospects develop and how quickly they can, whoever wants to get, how quickly they can show to get called up right away. So, for example, Arias or Lombard, if one of them gets called up quickly, then potentially I can see Volpe going to second base and keeping Lombard as shortstop, or Arias, whoever's. So it's all going to depend on these other prospects to see who's ready. But right now I see Volpe as a shortstop for us.
Volpe is the golden child. I think he is. I think they're going to write it out with him, unless there's a change of regime. I don't see them.
I've put a lot of. Sorry, go ahead, D.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think he's a shortstop until one of these prospects show they're ready.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of his ceiling hasn't even been reached yet at all, and I think that's the one thing I'll give the Yankees credit on is they're letting him kind of figure it out, for lack of a better term, because the West, we're always complaining about them, having a quick hook and trying to get them to learn another position. I think the fact the Yankees are determined to leave him at shortstop for the time being. I think they're seeing a lot more of him long term than some fans have been able to.
Mm-hmm. That's true. In fact, let's point on to Tat's take there. What is Volpe's ceiling?
to be honest, I can obviously he's two. I'm gonna say 260, 270 hitter, 20 plus home runs, 85 plus RBIs.
You think so? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, or less, or maybe I'll say 75 RBIs. He has to work on the on base percentage a little bit, work on walks, and I think he needs to strike out less. I think he needs to work on seeing the ball better, and then having better at bats. But that's my ceiling. I think 260, 270 hitter, 20 plus home runs, 75 plus RBIs.
So you've he's not going to be a star. You don't see him star potential, but you see him as a solid contributor.
Average player. But if I can see him improve on his hitting, and obviously his basing is good, but if I want to see more of a like a Juan, I'm not saying Juan Soto, but just work on work on better at bats, see the ball better. Yeah, so like that.
Let's ask Rob and Tats. Rob, what do you think is Volpe's ceiling?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it since last year. He doesn't need to be a superstar. It'd be ideal if he was, but he just needs to be a good defensive shortstop and a plus bat. Even if he's a league average bat, we're not going to take that right now. He did improve offensively slightly this year. It was a slight improvement. On base did go up 10 points. The slugging was down, but as was the OPS slightly, but he did lose some power. Still drove in 60 runs both years. He needs to walk more. You're absolutely right. Strike out less. And if he can just improve on his arm strength a bit, I think he'll be fine. I think the pressure's off him this year. He should not be leading off, I'll tell you that much. If he's batting in the bottom of the order, the pressure should be off of him. He needs to take what he did in the playoffs and carry that over, because he had a really good postseason, especially, obviously, the Grand Slam in the World Series. He hit 286 this postseason with an 815 OPS, so if you can take that and build off of it, say, what was I doing right in the postseason, carry that over, I think he'll be okay. He doesn't need to be a superstar. I know everyone wants our prospects to be a superstar, but the kids on the roster would be Volpe, Wells, and Dominguez.
Yep, that's it.
And they're going to have veterans at every other position. Yeah. And the lineup is not as old as people think. That's a pretty realistic expectation there, Ken. You want the home runs are not going to be anywhere like 30, 35. 20 to 25 is fine. And get on base and steal. Let the kid use his speed, please.
Well, I had said that I thought that was the one thing that's where the Yankees went wrong, is when they gave him the leadoff spot, he was getting on base. Mm-hmm. But then they weren't letting him take advantage of him being on the bases in front of Soto and Judge, because they wanted that base runner in case they connected with one, rather than let him play to his strength, which is, being a pain in the ass on the base paths. He's an excellent base stealer, and they took that tool away from him, and I think it kind of jarred his confidence a little bit, and I think that's really where he started to kind of slide off from some of the fan favorites.
Sierra has Volpe batting, Jazz leading off. Bookends. Do you think that could work?
I think that could work. Yeah, Jazz leaning off, Volpe 9. Yeah, that could work depending how the rest of the lineup shakes up this offseason, but that can work potentially.
I just worry second there.
Yeah, I just worry about Jazz's swing, though. It's a bit of an uppercut swing. It's really a power swing than a contact swing, unless they could get him to even it up a little bit. I just think that his swing projects more as a middle of the order bat. But he could potentially be an Alfonso Soriano type.
Which I'd be okay with that.
Oh, hell yeah. Are you kidding? Jeez.
So, Nita, before we wrap things up, I want to ask you one other question. What was it like talking with John Sterling last night?
Oh man,
I was dying to get that. I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, shout out to Woodbridge, and we had a great event with John Sterling yesterday. Great turnout. He was nice to all the fans, and I had the whole crew there last night too. But next time, Uncle Tats, you guys have to make it out here to Woodbridge for the events at Woodbridge. But man, John Sterling was awesome. Great guy, great personality. I've been helping these two kids out. Their names are Cooper and Carter from the Double Turbo Sports. Go check them out. They do a great job. And They had their moms made shirts for them literally yesterday for the event, saying it says the John Sterling wins. So it's instead of the
That's
John
really
Sterling
cool.
wins. So those are nice shirts, but all in all, awesome event, and I hope John Sterling does another event so everybody can meet him again. So
Definitely.
That would be awesome.
he is awesome, man. Great personality. I'm telling you, one of the best to ever do it. So.
Yeah. What events do you have coming up? Because I know Rob and Donald are both Giants fans. We have some Giants fans in the chat. I know you have some other events coming up. Let everybody know who's next on the list of who you're gonna have showcasing at Woodbridge.
Yeah, speaking of Giants, today I'm having Dominic Hickson on the show at 12 p.m.
Really?
Yeah, today. So it's just tune in for that one. Dominic Hickson, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and we'll be on the show today. And
Nathan, Joe Shane out.
man, that's it. John Mara has a lot of homework to do this all season right now.
Get him on the show. Smack him in the face for me.
He got 5 tests, 5 quizzes, 3 final exams to do this all season. He has a lot of things to do. But it's gonna be interesting what happens there. But for the upcoming events, on the 28th, December 28th, we got Muggsy Bogues coming to Woodbridge, and then next year we got Tino Martinez making a comeback.
Oh, my boy! I love Tino.
So Tino Martinez is coming back to Woodbridge for a second event.
When's this?
This is I'll tell you right now. Hold on, I have it on my calendar. Give me 1 second.
I gotta see my guy Tino.
Rob, you live in Jersey, right? Or
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. So
Donald, you're in where do you live again, Donald?
Well, I share time between White Plains and Scotland. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's Saturday, January 18th from 2 to 4.
In Woodbridge.
Yeah, Woodbridge Brewing Company. Shout out to Woodbridge, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Woodbridge. Damn. I got to see if I can get over there. I love Tino Martinez. He's like a
19th. All right. I marked that on my calendar, Nathan. So.
Okay. Yeah, January 18th, Saturday.
18th, Saturday. Got it.
From 2 to 4.
Damn. That anybody who can get over there, that would be awesome.
Yep. Shout out to Woodbridge.
Well,
let me ask you something, Nathan. Have you ever spoken with my dog, my favorite player of all time, Bernie Williams?
Yeah, we had Bernie at Woodbridge also. Bernie was at Woodbridge. That was another great event. Great turnout for that one too. So
I need to speak to Bernie.
Yeah,
that's my boy.
Hey, that's his fanboy. I'm a massive fanboy for Derek Jeter and Tino Martinez. Those are my fanboy guys. Andy Pettit as well. That's my boy, AP46.
If you guys want any, so like how my team is helping out NFE with his show with the guests, let me know. My team can help you out, get some guests for your show too.
No, that's generous. We'll definitely hit you up. We'll take you up on that offer for sure.
Yeah. We'd think if Bernie Williams came on the screen.
But Nathan, listen, we appreciate you giving us your time.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. Another one we just announced yesterday. He rescheduled. Jim Larrix will be coming to Woodbridge also.
Not cool.
Yeah, so it's on. I'll give you. Let me see here. This one is January 10th, Friday, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Ken's asking if Bernie performed.
No, actually, Woodbridge was trying to get him to bring his guitar, but he said no. So
okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
But so it's Friday, January 10th. Jim Larrix will be coming there. But actually, I had Jim Larrix on our show. So I think it was a couple years ago we had him on our show.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Jim's an amazing guy that got an interview. I've seen a few interviews with him.
Who was your favorite interview? Who's been your favorite interview to this point, Nathan?
Yeah, we helped NFE actually get. We can get you Jim Larrix also on your show if you're interested.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Who's been your favorite interview to this point, Nathan?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So out of all, I've done a lot of them. I think the best one would be having talking to Isaiah Thomas from the Bad Boy Piston era.
Whoa.
Yeah, he came on
Smart
my
pick.
show on my 25th birthday. That was like 4 years ago. So yeah, he was on my show on my 25th birthday. So I think that would be that's one of my favorite ones. The most recent one, I would say Johnny Manziel. That was like 2 weeks ago at Woodbridge.
Johnny Manziel.
We did it was a quick interview segment. That it was a great one though. He was awesome to work with.
Johnny Football. Well, he must have been an interesting character.
Oh, he's better. He's doing better now, and we had a decent turnout for him. But but my top, I think right now would be Isaiah Thomas, and I've done a lot of them, but the best one was Isaiah Thomas.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that is really cool. Especially getting to interview some of the guys from years ago. Getting comparisons to how it's played now. I always think that's always a great interview.
Yeah, like players like the former players love coming back on platforms like these and sharing their stories. They have tons of stories to tell. Which sometimes we get players that never. So on our platform, they say some of the stories they haven't told anyone. The first time on our show, they've been telling stories on their shows for the first time in their careers. Some stories that they haven't told anybody else, but once they're more open to sharing it on platforms like these for some reason.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's right. Because we talked to Jobba Chamberlain with NFB and stuff like that. He was talking. He was really open about a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, Job is awesome. He's a great guy.
Yeah, you know, even guys like with the Foul Territory channel. I think it's what the players like most about it, from what I've noticed, is it's kind of a little more stripped down. It's not corporate. They're able to just kind of go back to being a fan themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what they like about doing a lot of the YouTube platforms.
Yeah.
But Nathan, listen, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. It's always a great time. I've enjoyed our friendship over the years. You are the genuine one.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you coming on. Again, thanks to everybody that was hanging out with us in the chat. We didn't get to as many comments as we usually do, but we do appreciate every single Yogi. So we appreciate every single one of you. So make sure you hit that like button. Hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This has been the Pinstripe Chronicles, where fans become family. So with those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.